Time now for the shocking stat of the week. It'd be interesting to quantify whether the fentanyl crisis has got more attention since President Trump, I think it was late November, started to threaten tariffs to stop organized crime and the fentanyl trade crossing the border versus the 12 years before that when it was maybe reported, but I think there wasn't anywhere near the same level of reaction. And there's been no shortage of things to report, by the way. I mean, you could start with the shocking number of deaths attributed to fentanyl. You could do what Sam Cooper's done brilliant work on this. You could expose the infiltration of organized crime from China. But there's been next to no response from the federal government. So far, the government's downplayed the problem of fentanyl crossing the border with statements like, and they're still doing it, only 9,600 pounds of fentanyl were confiscated at the border. Well, they might want to consider that's because we have the longest unguarded border in the world with the US, and it's largely unpatrolled. We should also note the 9,600-pound claim. Well, it flies in the face of like the drug bust they had earlier this year on Falkland, BC, where enough chemicals and other material to produce roughly, are you ready? Shocking stat, 96 million doses of fentanyl. One bust, 96 million doses. New York Times also reported that officials believe that there are about 100 organized crime groups involved in fentanyl production in Canada last year. And that's about a 4 times increase from 2022. I mean, there's a lot more that apologists for government's inaction on both sides of the border want us to overlook. But I don't want to move on without making sure you understand the human costs. In 2012, BC reported that 4% of illicit drug deaths involved fentanyl. By 2016, 68%. And in the first half of 2017, 83%. That's in BC. But nationally, well, just look at the first quarter of 2024. That, right through June, 79% of accidental apparent opioid toxicity deaths involved fentanyl. Well, that was up like nearly 40% since 2016. You got major publications like the Wall Street Journal stating in quotes, reports indicate that transnational organized crime groups are utilizing Canada as a base for manufacturing and distributing fentanyl to the US, Europe, and Australia. So now President Trump has put the issue on the front page with his tariff threat. Well, I think tariffs or not, I think that's a good thing, as it's been the catalyst for, if it pushes government to take action, which they did, announced, I think it was December 27th, $1.3 billion to enhance border security, or at least they're promising to do that. Well, I say it's well past time, whether it displeases the government's friends in Canada, China, or anywhere else.